Howdy, 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 and welcome to the Gardener. On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to container garden. That's right. I'm doing a whole bunch of different gardening, so I decided that I will show you how I do new containers. All right. Alrighty folks, so the container I'm going to be using today is one of these big plastic totes. They're like nothing special, they're the ones with the handles, so they're easier to move. I think these were from Target or Walmart, I'm not exactly sure. Not too expensive. But basically what I'm going to do, since this is a bucket, there's no holes for no drainage. So I'm going to take my drill and we're going to drill some holes in here for drainage, because I'm going to make a bunch of different holes. I don't have a particular rhyme and reason. I'm just going to put a couple on the bottom and then a couple circling around the sides. So this way it will drain out a bunch of different ways. Because you want to have good drainage on these, because you don't want your plants just sitting in like a puddle of water, because that will lead to root rot. Alright, there you have it. I kind of went around and did every couple of inches, about, I don't know, 3 to 4 inches around the base, just so this way water has a good chance to just escape as it will. You know, from all the rain and things, you don't want soggy plants, like I said. The tote has its draining holes. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be putting something in the bottom. I'm going to be doing kind of like Hugelkultur type planting boxes in this way, or planting totes I should say. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking some older wood and be sticking it down in the bottom of the tote. So now I got some big pieces in there. Now I'm going to go grab some smaller bits here and fill it up a little bit more, alright? Alright, so now I have some more smaller stuff, and I'm just going to throw it in here. Just kind of make it fit. And basically what you just want is a nice little layer at the bottom here that's going to keep some air down here. And then this wood over time is going to break down, absorb water, and kind of just have a extra bank of moisture down at the bottom. So this way, in the summer and whatnot, as things get drier and drier, this will have a sponge of liquid. But basically, these like these smaller sticks here are just going to break down a bit faster than the bigger logs that I have down in the bottom. So basically, have a nice mixture. There's some newer wood in here and there's some older wood. The older wood's going to break down faster. But yeah, so now I have about, I don't know, that's about 12 inches. I'm going to fill to about here. So now this bottom half, which is going to be about, I'd say 5 inches. Now I'm going to throw some leaves on here. And then when I get some soil, I'm going to cover this up with some soil. And basically, most plants only need about 18 inches or so of soil at most. As you can see, the leaves have been added in and whatnot. You may be a little concerned because, you know, you have all this carbon down here and you're afraid of nitrogen fixing, which is a pretty valid concern. So particularly in like my first kind of year, I'll end up doing things that fix nitrogen, such as peas, beans, that type of thing, the nitrogen fixing family. So this way, that's less of an issue. Also, I'm going to be filling these up with a mixture of manure, and I think I'm going to get some vermiculite to kind of keep it loosened up and a bit fluffier for our container. Now, the reason for this, I'm doing this, is because, one, it's going to save me a lot on soil, so this entire thing isn't going to be filled with soil. So that's going to save me a good amount of money. And then 2, that also helps me get rid of some, yard debris and whatnot. And 3, since it's the Hugelkultur thing, since these are containers, the containers generally have an issue of loss of water. Like you're always constantly watering these type of containers, which I will still have to do. I'll still have to water these because they're going to be above ground. These are black, so they're going to be a heat sink. So basically, these guys here are going to be more so for other things and words. Alright, so I'd like to discuss what the entire concept of a Hugel type idea is. Basically, Hugelkultur, which is a German coined phrase, I believe. You'll probably see this a lot in the more permaculture type circles. Basically what it is you bury woody materials down at the bottom, and basically it acts as a sponge for the soil, basically absorbing the water throughout the seasons and then releasing it as the plants need. I do have a couple of my beds are basically buried hugels. You can't really tell so much because, I put like a lot of soil and I buried it deep underground. So basically, I do that for a good amount. It's similar to the idea of like core gardening, which is basically burying material that will break down faster than wood, like straw, leaves, in the center of your beds, basically acting as the sponge there and enriching the soil. So that is the basic idea of like the Hugelkultur, is basically after a year or 2, the woody stuff will act as a sponge, creating a nice environment for mitochondria and like mycelias, like the fungi and stuff, which will help, feed the plants and whatnot. So it's an interesting type thing. I'm doing them with my new planters. I've done them with my beds and they do really fine, great. I haven't really noticed any issues with it. I haven't seen like any issues with like nitrogen fixing in this and whatnot, probably because I do put quite a bit of soil on top, at least like 6 to 12 inches to start with at the very least, if not deeper. Howdy. Alright folks, so it's the next day. I had to go get some vermiculite to add to my containers. I got a load of sifted manure from my local landscaping company. And manure has a tendency to compact the vermiculite, so this way it stays loose and aerated a bit better. Alright, so I'm going to just take out some of the manure and throw it into the wheelbarrow, mix it in, and mix some more vermiculite into the containers, and then it will pretty much be done. Alright, the kind that I got was Virgo. It was just the last one that they had on the shelf, so nothing particularly, brand thing, but I know someone's probably going to ask, what brand did you use or something, so there you go. Alrighty folks, so the first one right there is done. You just saw me, I just didn't really measure, I just kind of eyeballed it. So this way it's just kind of aerated and a little bit more loose. So this way, like I said, it doesn't get compact since this is just straight, sifted, composted manure. So this way it will not get as soggy. At least that's my hope anyway, I'll find out. But I'm going to do the other 3, and then I'll be done and pretty much ready to plant in these, although I don't know what I'm planting in it yet. Alrighty folks, so the pots have now been filled, the vermiculite has been added to the manure. If you were to get bags of, potting mix and potting soil, you wouldn't have to add vermiculite because it's already in there, especially made for pots. But I'm going the cheaper route because I got a big old haul, like, 1 truck bed worth of sifted manure for like $30. So that's a lot cheaper to even fill these up if I was just getting bags of soil for this, even with my Hugelkultur type way of doing it, where it's still like, 2/3 of this is still soil, manure, what have you. And it would take a couple of bags to fill this up, and if you're getting decent premium quality potting soil, it gets pretty pricey. And after I, filled these guys up, I went around and I topped off all my garden beds quite a bit with the manure. So added fertility to all my beds, and these pots are getting done pretty cheaply. Alright, so I just wanted you to get a nice little close look into this, how nice and friable it is. Before it was a little bit more matted down, but yeah, basically the vermiculite is just going to add more friability to it, so it should stay loose and get less compacted. I mean, it's still going to compact, which you want some compaction in your soil, so this way the roots have something kind of firm to grow into, but you can just see loose and crumbly, kind of just looks like potting soil, which is what you kind of want for containers. The vermiculite is going to add aeration, it's going to keep it less compact. Also, this vermiculite and vermiculite in general is also going to help absorb water as well. So it's going to help the drainage and yet also help the absorption of water. It's amazing, this vermiculite stuff. Alrighty folks, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Check out my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/thegardennerdyouTube. That's right, that's facebook.com/thegardennerdyouTube. I'll put a link down in the doobly-doo. Also, I will maybe put a thing on the screen, maybe like right there maybe. I don't know, I'll figure it out.